Tonight at 10, a bombshell announcement. President Biden announcing he's dropping out of the presidential race.
I think it's very surprising news. Definitely not something I personally saw coming.
What this means for Democrats in the race as Election Day draws near. Plus Memphians giving their take on this historic announcement. The thoughts people in the Bluff City have on Biden's decision to step down and how local politicians are sounding off tonight as well. And later, outraged and ashamed.
Right now, something gotta be done.
A mass shooting in a small Mississippi town kills 3 people and leaves over 16 injured. What we know so far in the investigation.
Live from the station taking action for you. Action News 5 at 10 starts now.
And we begin tonight with the big developments in the 2024 presidential race. President Biden has made the decision to bow out. He made the announcement on his social media pages earlier today. Good evening, and thank you for joining me for Action News 5 at 10. I'm Noah Sershin in for Kelly Cook. Karen Kaifa is in our nation's capital tonight with the latest.
President Joe Biden Sunday afternoon saying he's dropping out of the race for president, but will remain in office until the end of his term. The president posting a letter on X saying, quote, "I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term."
I think today we should focus on Joe Biden's incredible legacy of service to our nation, his selflessness, his accomplishments in his decades in the Senate.
In a separate post, he went on to say that he is endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee.
I fully support Kamala Harris. And in fact, she's been trained by the best. Joe Biden was a vice president himself, and so she probably had the best mentor.
The announcement following weeks of mounting concerns over Biden's stamina and age. Calls for him to depart the race came after a widely criticized debate performance hosted by CNN less than a month ago. The president said he will address the nation later this week. He's currently isolating at his home in Delaware after testing positive for COVID Wednesday, just before he was supposed to speak at an event in Las Vegas. The Republican nominee, former President Donald Trump, responding to the news on Truth Social, saying, quote, "Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve and never was." It has been decades since a sitting president has decided not to seek re-election and drop out of the race. The last was Lyndon Johnson in 1968. At the White House, I'm Karen Kaifa reporting.
Karen, thanks. Well, around the country and right here in Tennessee, we are hearing from both politicians and citizens about their thoughts on this decision. Our Griffin Demaray joins us in studio now. And Griffin, what did they have to say today?
Hey, the main thing I heard from everyone today was there's just a little bit of shock. After a debate a couple weeks ago and nothing was said, everyone kind of thought Biden would stay in this race, but now everything's changed.
Good. I'm glad he's right there because he wasn't doing nothing anyway.
We are living in some crazy, dangerous times.
Mixed feelings from Memphians about President Joe Biden deciding not to seek re-election, but one feeling is for sure: surprise.
I'm shocked, but at the same time, it's kind of good for a president to drop out of an election this close to the finish line. All kinds of bells and whistles are going off.
But how do Tennessee lawmakers feel? Congressman Steve Cohen said he's shocked by the news and think the president was influenced by higher-ups.
The leaders like Nancy Pelosi, they're in a different situation. They had the opportunity to influence him. Those of us in the Congress and lesser, not in leadership, didn't have that, so I don't think we should have done it.
But to the same token, Cohen believes that with the president's age, he does not know if he would be able to handle another campaign.
And I think it would have been too taxing. He's very well qualified and capable of continuing to be president. President is bringing people together in compromise on policy that you know is good and trying to get policy implemented in legislation. A campaign is more harder work. It's really a grind.
But some lawmakers around the Mid-South disagree. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders said, quote, "Not fit to run for president, not fit to serve as president. Biden should resign immediately." In Memphis, state senators and representatives like Lyndon Lamar and Justin Pearson have had high praise for President Biden and his decision to back Vice President Kamala Harris to represent the Democratic nominee.
A very selfless act by stepping aside and allowing Vice President Kamala Harris to step up to leadership.
That means that miraculous and amazing things, fantastical things are still possible, like Vice President Harris becoming the first woman and the first black woman president of the United States.
But once again, some people don't feel the same way. Down in Mississippi, Governor Tate Reeves said, quote, "Have you ever seen a politician so strong and talented that he made his opponent quit in the middle of the race? I have Donald J. Trump. Back in the volunteer state, State Senator Ramesh Akbari says the Tennessee Democratic Party supports the decision.
And certainly the Tennessee Democratic Party, our group of delegates, all 70 plus delegates, unanimously voted to throw our support behind Vice President Harris. So I think I'm so thankful for President Biden.
A lot of time is still to go. The election's around 100 days away and the DNC set for next month. So there's a lot of moving parts ahead of November. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how everything unfolds. In the studio, Griffin Demaray, Action News 5.
A lot of moving parts to look out for, as you said, Griffin, thanks. Now be sure to stay with Action News 5 for continuing coverage of Biden dropping out of the presidential race. Our coverage does not stop here. In the next half hour of Action News 5 at 10, we'll examine how we got to this point. Plus, as President Biden endorses Vice President Kamala Harris, we will also take a look at what will come next and what could happen in these pivotal. We'll have more coverage on air and online. And be sure to stay with Action News 5 and download the Action News 5 app. It's a free download in your device's app store, and our Washington, D.C. Bureau of Local News Live will also have coverage on this election. Just head over to our website and click on the Local News Live tab. Looking ahead now, the woman charged in the fatal shooting of a Church's Chicken employee will make another appearance in court. Monica Williams is charged with shooting and killing 48-year-old Anitra West after an argument over her food order. Williams is facing a first-degree murder charge. She is expected to be in court tomorrow to discuss her bond. This is the third time within 2 weeks Williams has been in court. In the last hearing, Williams wanted her case thrown out. She will be in court tomorrow morning. 3 people are behind bars tonight accused of breaking into vehicles at the Eastgate Shopping Center in the Sea Isle area. Police say that they got reports of 18-year-old Antonio Bland and 19-year-old Tyrone Flemons breaking into cars. When officers tried to pull them in over, they sped away from officers. Police were eventually able to catch up with the car and noticed the 2 men, as well as 21-year-old Timothy Turner, run away from police. Officers were then able to arrest the trio and found 3 weapons in a backpack. One was stolen and the other had a gun conversion on it, and burglary tools were found. Police are also telling us tonight that the blue Nissan Maxima used to break into vehicles at that shopping center was used at an aggravated assault just a few days earlier on Springdale and Matthews in the Hyde Park area. And Memphis police need your help tonight looking for these 2 people accused of shoplifting from the Superlow on Spotswood Avenue. It happened on Thursday, and police say that a male and female put grocery items into the cart without paying. They were stopped by security and tried to pull the cart away multiple times but left their groceries at the store. If you know who these people are, you are asked to call MPD's Appling Farm Station at 901-636-4400. And we are following some breaking news from the Mississippi Delta, where a mass shooting leaves 3 people dead and many others with gunshot wounds overnight. This happened in Indianola, that's near Greenville, Mississippi. Donata Slidell has the latest on the investigation and with what concerned residents are saying about this recent violence.
3 19-year-olds died as shots rang out along Church Street in Indianola just before 1 Sunday morning. Sunflower County Coroner Heather Burton and the Enterprise Toxin identified the victims as recent Gentry graduate Aaron Butler, along with Cameron Lee Butts and Marquis Bates of Greenville. Charles Motley, who just organized an anti-crime summit with the FBI this past week, calls the shootings a real shock.
It's just a real unfortunate situation. It's real sad. This one really hurts because a young man that really got killed, he was a graduate with my daughter. She's taking it real hard.
Shaquita Johnson says besides the 3 dead, many others had gunshot wounds.
And now, considering we've had over a dozen people to get shot and 3 youth to get killed, all the age of 19, these are babies. And so when people see me talking about parental engagement, coming together as a community, it's impossible to build community resilience if we continue to be separated the way that we are. We have to come together, and now is the time.
According to published reports, 16 people were wounded in the shooting, with as many as 4 victims flown out by helicopter. Others got treatment at South Sunflower County Hospital. The Delta News tried to reach Police Chief Ronald Sampson and was told he wouldn't be available until Monday. Meanwhile, he told the Enterprise Toxin police officers were on the scene when the shooting began and were in the process of setting up barricades to clear the area around the Sunflower County Courthouse.
Right now, something got to be done. We can't set back like we normally do. A lot of things to happen. The whole community need to come together, the preachers, the community leaders, every capacity that You serve in the community as a leader. We need to come together and see what we can do about it and make sure this never happened again here in the city of Indianola.
We know who these people are. They are not just coming out of nowhere. They're from our community. Do what you gotta do. I don't know what you can do, but we have to stop being closed mouths. And we have to do what's necessary to keep our people safe.
That's Donato reporting. The mayor of Indianola has also said that he plans to implement an earlier curfew and revoke the licenses of problem businesses in the city.
Really a tremendous weekend of weather for the vast majority of us throughout the Mid-South. And I say that specifically because there have been a couple of counties that have been contending with showers and thunderstorms here over the past 2 or really few hours for that matter, into McNairy as well as into Alcorn counties off to the east here. But at least specifically for Bluff City, Covington, Millington, over towards Holly Springs, Olive Branch, Marks, into Helena, and into Tunica, we've seen some pretty nice weather conditions throughout the day. A little bit closer look at some of those showers and storms. Good news is none of these have been severe, and even as far as them being a little bit stronger, they have started to weaken a bit with the sun having now set. But as far as the rest of the evening is concerned here, I think we're going to be pretty much smooth sailing. Temperatures will eventually fall back here into the lower 70s and upper 60s to get Monday going. But yet again, we will be contending with some more afternoon and evening showers throughout the Mid-South. Are we going to see the showers be around a little bit more consistently over the next week? I'll talk more about that with your First Alert forecast coming up at 10.
All right, Eric, we will see you then. Coming up on Action News 5 at 10, residents in one Nashville neighborhood are upset after unwanted hate speech makes its way onto their doorsteps. Up next, the concerning rise of hate speech in the Music City. Plus,
the initial excuses that she has given for the lapses that happened last Saturday are just unbelievable.
The head of the Secret Service will be in the hot seat tomorrow answering questions about the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump. Why this hearing tomorrow is gaining bipartisan support. And honoring a civil rights pioneer, how Memphians came together to honor the work of Reverend Dr. James Lawson. Welcome back to Action News 5 at 10. Some people who live in Nashville woke up to these anti-Semitic letters thrown on their doorsteps and driveways. These were found in Green Hills, a neighborhood near South Nashville. The flyers were folded and placed in sandwich bags with corn to weigh them down. The flyers make anti-Semitic claims about transgenderism, the media, immigration, and gun control. And this all comes as Nashville is seeing a rise in anti-Semitic propaganda. People who live in that area say that this is appalling.
So I got a text from a neighbor this morning saying, hey, did you get this as well? I came out to find that I too had this hate speech in my yard. I picked it up, looked up and down the street and saw that my neighbors too had it. So I went and walked and picked them off the street because I know my neighbors well enough that they wouldn't want that hate speech in their yard either. You know, we wanted it off our street because that, again, just has no home here at all.
And get this isn't the first time that these flyers have made the rounds in Nashville. Our sister station there, WSMV, has reported on these flyers in 2020 and at least 3 times in 2023. A high-stakes hearing ahead for the director of the Secret Service tomorrow. Kimberly Cheadle will go before Congress for the first time to talk about how her agency failed to stop the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump last Saturday. Since then, she has faced growing calls from Republicans to step down, but now one Democrat is joining the bandwagon. Tina Kim previews tomorrow's hearing.
Her career has been dedicated to protecting others. Now, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle will have to defend herself as she goes before the House Oversight Committee Monday. And the grilling will come not only from Republicans. Congressman Brendan Boyle has become the first Democrat to call for her resignation after the Secret Service failed to stop the attempted assassination of former President Trump in Boyle's state of Pennsylvania last weekend.
Last week, I took a bullet for democracy.
On Saturday, Donald Trump talked about getting hit during his first on-the-trail rally since the shooting, which also killed a crowd member and wounded 2 others. Trump told Fox News that no one directed him to delay his speech, despite the fact that nearly an hour earlier, local police had spotted a suspicious person. The gunman would later take aim at Trump from a rooftop outside the venue. House Speaker Mike Johnson said this about Cheadle Sunday.
The initial excuses that she has given for the lapses that happened last Saturday are just unbelievable. And I think that'll be must-see TV. She's got a lot to answer for, and these concerns are bipartisan.
Johnson also said it was, quote, beyond the pale. The Secret Service changed its story about past security requests from Trump's team. The agency now acknowledges it previously turned down Trump requests for additional resources in recent years. But the Secret Service said none of the requests was tied to last weekend's rally. In fact, additional resources were given to that event. I'm Tina Kim reporting.
Speaker Johnson said he is forming a bipartisan task force to further investigate the assassination on Trump. Bangladesh's top court has scaled back a controversial quota system for government job applicants after it led to nationwide unrest and deadly clashes between police and protesters that have killed scores of people. Earlier in the week, police fired tear gas and rubber bullets to scatter stone-throwing protesters who filled the streets amid unrest that killed over 100 people. Well, back here in the Mid-South, the life of the man at the center of the sanitation strike here in Memphis was honored today. Reverend Dr. James Lawson studied nonviolence and civil disobedience under Gandhi. He became a close ally to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It was Lawson that created the strategy for the sanitation strike here in the Blessed City in the 60s. He invited Dr. King to help them. The celebration of life was held at Cincinnati United Methodist Church. He also taught many other civil rights leaders like John Lewis. Lawson passed away in Los Angeles last month at the age of 95. The Miss Tennessee Volunteer Teen Pageant made a comeback today. It was held just up the road in I-40 in Jackson, Tennessee. Teen girls all across the state competed, vying for the crown, which is awarded by the Miss Tennessee Volunteer Organization in Jackson. The girls in the Iris competition are judged in 3 categories, and teen volunteer contestants are judged in 4 categories like fitness, interview, evening gown, and talent. Emily Parks, the executive director of the program, says that this pageant has a positive impact on contestants.
Tonight is our teen pageant. Actually, we have 57 young ladies from across the state of Tennessee here tonight to compete for Miss Tennessee Teen Volunteer and Miss Tennessee Iris Teen. And on top of that, we've got 36 littles who are competing for Little Miss Tennessee Volunteer and Preteen Miss Tennessee Volunteer.
The winners for this year's Miss Tennessee Volunteer Teen is Kristen Henning. Catherine West was crowned Miss Iris Tennessee, so congratulations to those teen girls right there.
We will be seeing some weather conditions around here as far as the next, really few days are concerned. Seeing a couple of showers yet again over towards that of McNairy and Alcorn counties off to the east here, and the good news is these do look to be getting smaller or weaker as opposed to that of stronger, but still going to keep an eye on these here throughout the next little bit. But overall, I think we're going to have smooth sailing here as we roll into the work week. Futurecast here, as far as tonight's concerned, doesn't have too much activity taking shape or place. Temperatures for tonight will slip back and range from roughly about 67 degrees to about 72 degrees across the Mid-South, so really we could call it either side of 70. And the good news is, at least at first, at 9 a.m. on Monday, we will be seeing a lack of precipitation around, but as we get some daytime heating, a little bit of sunshine, especially towards the afternoon hours, that's when we will get some of these little showers and thunderstorms to start to spark off yet again. If we do get some of these around in the morning, meteorologist Patrick Ellis, he'll give you the latest and greatest details with that first alert forecast here starting tomorrow morning. But overall, I think tomorrow morning's commute to work should be a-okay. It's the evening commute where you might be contending with a few showers and thunderstorms around, especially along Highway 72. Temperature-wise, they're still going to be on the cooler side thanks to the additional moisture and cloud coverage that will be in place here. So look at that yet again. Keep in mind, today we were at about 89 to 91 degrees, 87 for Bluff City, 86 for Somerville and into Brownsville, 85 for Bolivar. down into, northwestern Mississippi. 86 for Tunica, 86 for Holly Springs as well, and 89 for Batesville. Even up towards Clarksdale and Marks, 88 degrees. So seasonably cool conditions expected here on Monday. Afternoon highs this time of the year should be ranging from about 90 to 93 degrees. So Forest City, Wynn, over towards Helena for that matter, middle to upper 80s. Yeah, it's still going to be a little bit cool out there. Just keep in mind there will be some scattered showers and thunderstorms around. Always a good idea to download the First Alerts weather app here, especially since there are showers within the forecast over the next few days. I'll give you a second to scan that QR code so you can get rocking and rolling with that. But futurecast here as we start to roll into the rest of the work week, especially towards Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Notice it does have these little pieces of moisture and just energy that kind of swing on through the Mid-South here, day over day over day. For the time being, it looks like Tuesday and Wednesday hold the best chance of showers, but it really kind of each and every day from Monday through that of Saturday has at least a solid chance of precipitation around it here. 7-day forecast here for the Mid-South does have temperatures for afternoon highs struggling to even get into the upper 80s, especially in the middle of the work week. But a 60% chance of showers here for Thursday, 60% for Wednesday, and then some 40s wrapped around on either side between Monday, Thursday, and Friday. I do think Friday and Saturday, those are kind of the days to keep an eye on the chances of precipitation rising here. But the good news is, Kelly, as far as the next 7 days are concerned, no given days of washout, just kind of a couple of showers here and there. And not every day you're going to see a shower. But you will see below average temperatures for the next few days.
Those below average temps are going to feel nice. Thanks, Eric. Well, still ahead on Action News 5 at 10, one California man is bringing his skateboarding talents to the Olympics. Up next, how he's making a positive impact there. Well, folks, we are just right around the corner from the start of the 2024 Paris Olympics, and one professor from California is headed to the big games. Omari Fleming shows us how he hopes to use his skateboarding skills to help heal social problems.
Dr. Neftali Williams has parlayed his passion for skateboarding into directing San Diego State University's new Center for Skateboarding, Action Sports, and Social Change.
Are they just skating all day or what?
No, that's a great question. Yeah. Looking at how skateboarding helps young people build communities, particularly at a time with people who have dissimilar backgrounds. At a time when in the U.S. right now, we need more reasons to see each other or see the other as the self.
Williams isn't just a sociologist and assistant professor at SDSU. As the first ambassador of skateboarding and envoy for the U.S. Department of State, he's headed to the 2024 Paris Olympics next week.
And we start to engage both, in this instance, the city of Paris, community centers, and community advocates and leaders to think about how skateboarding brings young people together and how we as adults can sort of tap into that and help them think of themselves as global citizens.
The skateboarding professor, as he's known, started skating as a kid in Massachusetts. He says part of the allure is its utilitarian nature of sorts. There are no rules or coaches, and that's why he says it has the power to build community and create social change. Williams says he's seen it in action through skateboarding programs he's introduced around the world, from Asia to Cuba.
Skaters in the U.S. and the skaters that are in Cuba, and see like, hey, this one thing that we love together can be the thawing of relationships between our two countries.
Through his experience and research, Williams has also seen how skating has broken barriers right here in the States.
When we saw the murder of George Floyd and the aftermath of that, what we really saw was that skaters were out in the streets working together and also talking about that shared history that they had.
Inside his SDSU office, skating paraphernalia decorates the walls, from a deck commemorating the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which was the year skateboarding debuted in the games, to a poster with some of the Tokyo team members who now live in San Diego and are competing in this summer's games.
Jagger Eaton.
That rich San Diego skateboard history is why, even though he's gearing up for the Paris Games, Williams is looking to make sure that San Diego gets its props when the Olympics roll into Los Angeles in 2028.
When people come to think about, hey, skateboarding 2028, that's something that we built all together, but particularly with Southern California.
It spells in the virtues of San Diego.
Yes, yes. I mean, SD is getting it done.
And we wish him the best of luck there in Paris. And 5 of the skaters from the U.S. Olympic skateboarding team are from San Diego as well. New and next in the upcoming half hour of Action News 5 at 10:30, after a tumultuous few weeks for President Biden, he's announced that he's dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. Up next, how we got to this point. Plus, safety is top of mind for many Tennesseans, especially when it comes to guns. What the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is doing to help people prepare in the event of an active shooter. And the day of school for the Mid-South is just a few days away. Still ahead, how you can help your child prepare with the tools they need to be first day ready as they step foot back into the classroom.
Action News 5 at 10 is sponsored by your Memphis area Honda dealers. Live from the station taking action for you. You're watching Action News 5 at 10.
In a stunning turn of events, President Biden announced that he's bowing out of the 2024 presidential race. Thanks for being here for the second half hour of Action News 5 at 10. I'm Noah Sershin. But as this decision is creating a scramble in the Democratic Party, with fewer than 5 months to crown a successor, we wanted to take a look at the events of the last 3 weeks and how it sealed the president's fate. Molly Martinez reports.
A shaky debate performance on June 27th set in motion a series of events that destabilized the Biden re-election campaign. In an effort to do immediate damage control, 1 week later, the president agreed to a sit-down interview with George Stephanopoulos.
If the Lord Almighty came down and said, Joe, get out of the race, I'd get out of the race. The Lord Almighty's not coming down.
The interview did little to quell the growing anxiety in the party, with several congressional members calling for the president to bow out.
The president of the United States doesn't have the vigor necessary to overcome the deficit.
Now, celebrities were getting involved, with friend and mega donor George Clooney penning an op-ed in the New York Times that the president was unfit to serve another term. On July 11th, following the NATO summit in Washington, D.C., the president put himself in the hot seat, hosting his first ever solo press conference in 8 months. The attempt to show off his acumen for foreign policy was eclipsed by this gaffe.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president.
The redemption tour continued, despite a growing chorus of members of his own party calling for a replacement. Then, the event no one could have predicted. This stunning, pivotal moment catapulted support for Donald Trump and forced many to take an even harder look, not just at Joe Biden's viability as a candidate, but the survivability of the party with important congressional and Senate races at stake. In the days after the attempted assassination, reports grew of high-ranking Democrats, including Speaker Emeritus Nancy Pelosi and former President Barack Obama, asking for intervention. These calls were heated, with Biden announcing it's time to pass the torch. We're still a month out from the DNC, where the party faces a reckoning of identity and leadership. In Washington, I'm Molly Martinez.
And as Molly just said, this really is an important time for Democrats as the DNC is just right around the corner. Now, just because Biden endorsed Kamala Harris as president, that doesn't mean that she will automatically become the Democratic nominee. The DNC will vote early next week on making Vice President Harris the Democratic frontrunner. New at 10:30, the search is over and a man is behind bars after a Tennessee state trooper was shot in Putnam County outside of Nashville. Authorities found and arrested 29-year-old Braze Rucker. Trooper Adam Cothran was shot while conducting a traffic stop on I-40 in Cookeville. Rucker and one other suspect drove off after shooting the trooper. After 2 days of searching, the THP and Kentucky State Police used Cothran's handcuffs to take him into custody. The search continues for the other suspect. And even more good news tonight. Cothran's wife posted to Facebook saying that he is improving. One person is dead after a shooting on Beale Street. Officers say that the shooting happened just before 11 last night on 4th and Beale. Police found the victim and took him to the hospital where he later died. MPD said that the suspect is a black man wearing a red shirt and hat, possibly driving a white sedan. We've learned that the victim and the suspect had an argument prior to the shooting. With Tennessee laws making it easier to purchase firearms, there's a fear of gun crimes all around the volunteer state, especially right here in Memphis. Another concern people have is the threat of active shooters. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation showed people in Nashville what to do in case of that tragic event. Sharon Danquin attended the free session and has more.
Amid a life-saving
difference at the Covenant School.
This is the start of a 2-hour-long training course focused on active shooter response.
So at 10:05 p.m., he started spraying into that crowd.
It's a course put on by a company called Defense Systems and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Once a year, they hold a free event open to the public to teach people how to respond in active shooter situations.
It does no good if we keep all of this information to ourselves, right? I'm very well trained. I know exactly how to respond. I know exactly what to do and how to do it. But it doesn't do anyone else around me any good if I'm not sharing that.
On Thursday, hundreds of people in Hendersonville showed up to Long Hollow Church to listen.
I decided to come here and see what I personally can learn from all of this.
But the reason I wanted to attend tonight was to learn a little bit more about what to do if. I think we all need to be prepared in case there is an active shooter.
And that's exactly what they did for 2 hours. People watched videos and saw pictures of real-world active shooter events.
He was able to get them out that set of doors just on the bottom right and get them down the hill towards Burton Hills.
And learn tips like how to provide a quick first aid and pre-hospital help to temporarily keep someone alive until they get medical help.
And some of those would have absolutely been preventable had we treated them in time.
And questions like,
if you're in a grocery store and you hear a pop, you don't know if it's a gun or a backfire, and you don't know whether you should drop or not.
Were answered with tips like, if someone is trying to shoot at you, get covered behind something or in some way conceal yourself so the shooter can't see you. All of these tips, some say they plan to spread far beyond these walls.
I think anybody that comes here today should spread it, and word of mouth will get it out there, and maybe we can cut down on the deaths and the problems going on.
Yeah, knowledge definitely is power there. That was Sharon Danquo reporting. Instructors say that they hope that even just half of the people showed up shared these tips with as many people as they can. Well, the search is on for a man in Corinth, Mississippi after deputies in Alcorn County say that he is accused of shooting at a home today. Deputies are looking for this man, Daniel Yates, for a shooting on County Road 174. Witnesses say that Yates drove through a yard, crashed his truck at an intersection, then ran away. Anyone with information is asked to call the Alcorn County Sheriff's Department at 662-296-5521. One person is recovering after being injured in a crash. It happened after 6:30 on Interstate 55 Brooks Road in Whitehaven. The driver was transported to the hospital in an ambulance. No word on how the crash was caused and the condition of the driver. A new report by Consumer Affairs is revealing the cities in Tennessee with the worst drivers. And get this, Memphis made #1 on that list. Memphis topped the list with a crash score of 77. Statistics found in the Consumer Affairs report showed that 36 crash-related fatalities in Memphis. 16 crashes were due to bad driving per 100,000 people, according to the data in 2022. The fatalities number is nearly 3 times the average across the nation, while fatal crashes due to bad driving are 3 times more than the nationwide average. Jackson, Tennessee made #9 on the list, with Nashville ranking in #6. Oh, all the kids are going to hate this story. Well, first day of school for most is just a couple of weeks away, and Memphis Shelby County Schools wants to get their families prepared. They will host their Gear Up Day next Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at all of their campuses. District officials say that you can get in-person registration and back-to-school info, meet the principal, and so much more. To get more information, visit their website, scsk12.org/back-to-school. Well, we are right in the dog days of summer with hot temperatures. Could relief be on the way? First Alert meteorologist Eric Brill will have the answer in his full First Alert forecast in 90 seconds. Stay with us.
It has been actually really nice temperature-wise across the Mid-South, and even right now, we're still seeing some solid conditions around Memphis. The warm spot at 82 degrees on the Best Care Home Services camera here above the roof, and well, everybody else is into the 70s. And overnight low temperatures still have about another 5 to 10 degrees, depending on where you're at, to slip back as far as tonight goes. And well, from a shower and thunderstorm activity, the green on your screen represents that of rain showers, the little areas that are kind of blocked off here. Those are flash flood warnings that are in place throughout eastern portions of Tennessee and into Georgia, and for the Carolinas for that matter. But at least locally, we're kind of high and dry right now. There are some showers off to the north and to the east here, and a little bit close for a look at some of those showers here still hanging on into that of McNairy as well as into Alcorn counties. They're starting to fall apart here, but still going to keep an eye on them just to play it safe. And up to the north, those showers that are a little bit further to the north towards the Paris or north of Paris along the Tennessee River, those are scooting away from us too. So good news as far as the shower and thunderstorm activity is concerned here locally. Don't really think it's going to impact us here for tonight. Temperatures will eventually bottom out and range from about 72 to 67 degrees here to get the work week rolling along. But like we've seen the past few days, dry conditions to start, then we'll start to see some showers and thunderstorms fire up here come the afternoon and evening hours. I do think for Monday, though, these are going to be slightly more widespread than what we have seen here between both weekend days. So first alert on that here for Monday. Be prepared for that. Bring in the umbrella. It's going to be beneficial if you get caught in one of those showers, but it's not like we're going to see a washout of a day here on Monday. And then into the evening and overnight hours, those showers will start to become a little less frequent, so at least we do have that to hold on to. So for Monday into southwestern Tennessee, temperatures in the middle to upper 80s, 84 for Dyersburg, 86 for Selmer, into northwestern Mississippi, 86 for Tunica, as well as Ashland, and over towards Holly Springs, the afternoon high will be 86 as well. Scattered showers and thunderstorms will be around, westerly winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Finally, for eastern Arkansas, temperatures will be in the middle 80s, 87 for Bluff City, though, into Memphis for that matter. But I do think we will be seeing some cooler temperatures here, really more often than not over the next 7 days. Middle 80s for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even into Friday for that matter. And then the upper 80s and lower 90s will be returning for the last weekend of July. It's not a coincidence. The chance of showers does start to diminish and our temperatures do start to climb a little bit. And those temperatures here for the middle of the work week will be a little bit cooler.
Those 80s are going to feel pretty nice. Thanks, Eric. Folks, stay right here. Matt Infield is coming up next with sports. Stay with us.
The GMC Sports Desk is sponsored by GMC. We are professional grade.
Well, they don't hang banners for Summer League championships, but you do get a ring. The Grizzlies rolling into the Las Vegas Summer League semifinals after a perfect 4-0 start. The Beale Street Bears taking on the Clippers with a spot in tomorrow night's championship game on the line. Tied the first quarter. Look at the vision from Dejan Giroux. Finds G.G. Jackson, 3-ball quarter pocket. You bet. Memphis takes a 15-12 lead. Final seconds of the first half now. Jalen Wells, hand in his face, splash to beat the buzzer. Memphis down 5 at the break. More from Wells later. And by later, I mean right now. Final minute of the third quarter now. Wells, 1, 2, 3, please. Grizz take a 6-point lead to the fourth. Now to the final frame. Wells is a flamethrower. Another long ball. Nothing but net. 28 points for the second round pick. He was 6 of 7 from deep. Memphis up by 8 with 6 minutes left. And then the Clippers go on a run. Under 2 to play. Cam Christie drills a corner 3. LA takes a 1-point lead, but not to fear. The star of the summer has the answer. Scottie Pippen Jr. bucket and 1. He'd finish the 3-point play. Grizzlies back up 2. Now 1.7 seconds left. Kobe Brown at the line for 2 with a chance to tie the game for LA. Nails the first, but he misses the second. Jackson comes up with the rebound, and that's a wrap. Pippen Jr. with just the 5th triple-double in Summer League history. Grizzlies hang on to win 99-98, and they're headed to the championship game.
Just doing all I can to win. You know, rebounds, assists, points, whatever it may be, find the hot hand. Just having fun doing it.
I think it was good that we ended it with a defensive stop. I think that was what was successful this whole game, was being good on defensive end. So ending the game with the defensive stop was just going right.
Now the Grizz will face the Miami Heat in the championship game tomorrow night. Tip-off at 7 Central Time. I don't care if it's AAA. If you're a Cardinal fan, beating the Cubs of any kind in a series always feels good. The Memphis Redbirds victorious over the Iowa Cubs 2-1 last night. Rubber match at AutoZone Park this afternoon. Victor Santos on the hill for Memphis. Top 1, B.J. Murray Jr. with a rude introduction to Santos. Smacks that hanging breaking ball into the right field bleachers. 3-run blast gives Iowa an early 3-0 lead. Move ahead, bottom 9. Memphis trailing 4-2, but getting a little 2-out rally going. Ivan Herrera laces a single in the center. Jose Fermin comes home. It's a 1-run game. Tie run on second, winning run on first. Next batter is Jared Young. He's got the chance to be the hero. Instead, he goes down looking on strikes. Redbirds rally runs out of steam. They lose 2 of 3 this weekend. They travel to Columbus starting on Tuesday. Hall of Fame Sunday in Cooperstown, New York. Among those bestowed with baseball's highest honor today, Tennessee native and former Vol Todd Helton, who becomes the first UT player enshrined in Cooperstown. Helton spent his entire 17-year career with the Colorado Rockies, where he made 5 All-Star teams, won 3 Gold Gloves, and finished his career with 369 home runs. The Volunteer State native, Rocky a Tennessee pin, reflecting on his legendary career.
I did my best to give it all every day. Competing on the baseball field was where I felt like I belonged. It was my church, a place where I felt most comfortable. The rewards that have come to me from baseball are beyond the wildest dreams of a young rookie coming out of the University of Tennessee. I know I'm a lucky man. All I can say is thank you to everyone whose support helped me get here, and thank you for this tremendous honor.
Held part of a Hall of Fame class that includes Joe Mauer, Adrian Beltre, and manager Jim Leland. Big congrats to all 4. Meanwhile, from one Vol to another, the Tennessee Titans report for training camp this coming week, and there's going to be a whole lot of Memphis in their backfield. The Titans bring in former Tiger and Melrose star Tony Pollard from the Dallas Cowboys on a 3-year deal this offseason. He'll be joined in the running back room by former Briarcrest and Tennessee standout Jabari Small, who signed with them as an undrafted free agent after 4 years on Rocky Top. Small was at Briarcrest Friday night as part of a youth football camp and discussed being in the same room as Pollard.
Yeah, I mean, I told him when one of the first practices that I was one of the first practices at OTAs that I'm trying to learn from the most I can from him, being his back hip. Him being from Memphis, obviously I looked up to him. He went to Memphis, played at Melrose. He's a true Memphis guy, and he's doing good at what he's good at what he does. So I'm definitely just trying to learn from him and just seize the opportunity.
Titans report for camp on Tuesday. Their first practice is on Wednesday. The college football season is right around the corner, and there's a ton of hype around the squad down in Oxford. Could this be the greatest season in the history of Ole Miss football? Coming off a program record 11 wins and a dominant victory in the Peach Bowl last year, the Rebs are a popular pick to make the expanded 12-team college football playoff. Jackson Dart returns for his 3rd season as the Rebs starting quarterback and is one of the favorites to win the Heisman Trophy. And stop me if you've heard this before. Ole Miss brings in one of the best transfer portal classes in the country. But Lane Kiffin is taking a lesson from one of his mentors and the GOAT, Nick Saban, on handling the hype.
It's set up for a chance to have a good team. But there's a lot of work in that. There's plenty of, noise out there that means nothing. And plenty of teams over years in all sports have been ranked high and haven't played well, and been ranked low and played really well. So none of that means anything in respects to Coach Saban's terms. This is really, as he said, this is a rat poison situation here, to have all this attention on our players, and it means nothing.
The Rebs open 2024 at home against Furman on August 31st. Wrestling is a big part of the fabric of Memphis, and Saturday night, 901 Wrestling held their biggest event of the year. The 3rd annual Wild Card Rumble at Black Lodge was a way for 901 Wrestling to honor the life and legacy of former wrestler Devin Wildcard Taylor, who died in a drowning incident in June 2022. It wasn't meant to be an annual event, but it became that after the first show following his death drew a huge turnout, and the mood isn't somber, far from it.
A lot of shows do memorials, benefit shows, stuff like that. That's not what we do with this one. This is a celebration. And over the years, people have figured that out, and that's what they want to do. They want to remember the wild card Devin Taylor and have a great time doing it and make sure that we're as loud as possible while we do it.
I love it. It took me a year to come because it was still fresh. But every time I come, I cry a little. But yet I'm so happy because this is what Devin loved to do. This is the last thing that made him happy. He won the belt right before he passed away on June the 5th, and I just thank them so much for having this for him every year, and I love coming out.
Don't worry, all for show. No one was actually hurt. If you want to know more about their next event, go to 901wrestling.com. Just so you all know, I was offered a spot to jump in the ring at some point in the future. TBD on that. I might go back as a fan, though. It was a cool event. All right, back out to Viva Las Vegas for our play of the week. That's coming up next. Guys like Scottie Pippen Jr. and Gigi Jackson have gotten the most attention as the Grizzlies advance to tomorrow night's Summer League Championship game. But there's no doubt who's got the most bounce on the squad. That would be Isaiah Miller. Thursday night against the Pelicans. Miller, active hands, comes up with the deflection and steal. This is where it gets really fun. Miller all alone and shows off the hops with the windmill jam. Take another look. This dude is 6 foot on the dot, which makes it even more impressive. Miller. That's nasty. Don't underestimate how nasty that is. Miller takes home our play of the week. Hopefully the Grizz take home that Summer League Championship tomorrow night. That's a wrap on Sports Tonight. Eric's got a final look at your forecast. Coming up next.
All right, let's get one final check of that first alert forecast with meteorologist Eric Brill.
As far as what we got going on here for tomorrow, showers and storms will be a little bit more frequent than today. Not a washout. That's kind of the name of the game throughout the rest of the work week, folks.
All right, thanks, Eric, and thank you all for being here for Action News 5 at 10 and 10:30. Hey, covered a lot of news with this presidential election. Ariana Poindexter and Andrew Douglas are going to have a full wrap-up tomorrow on Action News 5 from 4 to 7 a.m. We hope to see you then. Good night.
With the WMC Action News 5 mobile app, you'll be the first to know. From WMCActionNews5.com to text and email alerts for breaking news and weather. It's all right here in the palm of your hand. Sponsored by the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.